The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, I'm back with another video and I have got some amazing books to talk about today. I'm recording this during the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day. Regretfully, I do not have any tea brewed. I just came from a delicious grill cookout, so instead I have cherry limeade to do my meditation and also some water as well. So happy 4th of July to you all. Let's see. No real news actually. So, I'm still doing the farmers market in Wheat Ridge, which is every Wednesday from 5 to 8. We usually pack it up around 7:45, 7:50, depending on the weather too. And then I'm also part-time at the Golden Farmers Market, and my next date with them will be July 8th, so this coming Saturday. So hope to see you there. I am booth 5B, just look for the big Buddha. And for those of you who can't see my t-shirt, it's a werewolf and it says, "Don't mind me, it's just that time of the month." I haven't worn this in a while, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna wear that today. I love my werewolves, I can't help it. All right, so if you're ready for some good old book reviews, let's begin. So the first book I had actually read before, and I used to have a copy of it, and then for some stupid reason, I got rid of the book. And throughout the years, I was like, what was that book? It was about this, and it had like a green cover, I don't know. But anyway, long story short, oh yes, big shout out to Denver Public Library for having these two books that I'm reviewing today. You guys are awesome. But yes, this is Mortal Love by Elizabeth Hand. This is probably one of my top 10 favorite books. And when I saw that the library had it, I jumped on it and devoured it and didn't remember too much of the story except for acorns. That's all I remembered. So let me read the back of it for you. In the Victorian age, a mysterious and irresistible woman becomes entwined in the lives of several artists, both as a muse and as the object of all-consuming obsession. Radbourne Comstock, one of the early 20th century's most brilliant young painters, is helpless under her dangerous spell. In modern-day London, journalist Daniel Rowlands meets a beguiling woman who holds the secret to invaluable and lost pre-Raphaelite paintings, while wealthy dilettante actor Valentine Comstock is consumed by enigmatic visions. Swirling between eras and continents, Mortal Love is the intense tale of unforgettable characters caught in a whirlwind of art, love, and intrigue that will take your breath away. This does not even give you an idea about the story. There's so much more. And whoever wrote this blurb did it just right to where you're intrigued, but when you actually start reading the book, it is way more than this. Way more. I really don't want to give it away, but I will say this for all of my fellow creatives out there. Do you have a muse? Have you ever felt like your muse was relentless and almost you were in fear of your muse because the images that came to mind and how you felt driven to get a project done? Even if you're tired or you hadn't eaten for several hours, this muse, this creative spark that turns into like a full roaring flame just keeps pressing you and pressing you and pressing you. Well, what if it's all true? And what if the muse for all creative people comes from one source that's real? That's all I can say. I can't say anymore, but I will say that the artists that come in contact with this strange, beguiling woman are almost driven insane, and some of them are actually driven insane. There was one scene that I read about, I think it was Comstock, who visits an asylum, and he meets up with another artist who is a resident, so we think, and that particular artist works with colors that he's never even seen before, Radstock hasn't seen before. And yeah, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm going to mark this as no children can watch this, but he returns to his room and he was told, you know, don't lick your fingers by accident, because he had the pastel colors, the chalk colors, the colors on his fingertips. And he was staring at his hand so intensely after he got back to his room that he got erect and basically masturbated after sticking his fingers in his mouth. If that's not intense, if that's not obsession, if that's not creativity that's almost blending into madness, I don't know what is. But this is a damn fine book. It really, truly is. And, you know, I've realized that in rereading a lot of books that I read, you know, back in my 20s and 30s and early 40s, that coming back to them, some of them I do remember and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like visiting an old friend. And some, like Mortal Love, like I said, I didn't remember too much of it, but reading it again was just, I was like, oh, that's why I fell in love with this book in the first place. That is why. So for Mortal Love by Elizabeth Hand, I didn't get my notes together. Please excuse me. It receives, talk amongst yourselves. Oh goodness. Oh wait, here we go. Viridian Tea House is 5 pots of tea. You know, 4th of July, I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, you know, I'm missing something. Oh yeah, actually my scorecards. Whoops. So yeah, Mortal Love by Elizabeth Hand. Definitely check it out. If you are a creative soul, if you have a vivid imagination, if you love somewhat erotic thrillers, you cannot go wrong with Mortal Love. This is quite the read, very much the read. And many thanks to Elizabeth Hand for having written this book. This book was actually written, let's see, this was written in 2004. The hardcover edition was published in 2004. So yeah, this stands the test of time, and as People magazine said, a literary page-turner, deeply pleasurable, inhabits a world between reason and insanity. It's a delightful waking dream. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So thank you very much for that visit that brought back a lot of good memories. Thank you. So the second book, oh my God, make sure I have all my shit together. Pride Month is over, but it doesn't end, it doesn't stop. And in reading this book, my eyes have been opened. So let me just kind of give a little stories, like what the hell is she talking about? So in my life, I've met many drag queens. I've gone to drag queen shows. I've actually seen a couple of drag kings. And especially with drag queens, like there have been some where I'm like, oh my God, you are gorgeous. I feel like garbage compared to you. And I just always admired their art, really did. And then when RuPaul came along with the Drag Race, never watched the show. But funny enough, when I moved out here to Colorado, some of my coworkers at Crate and Barrel were telling me about it. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, okay, maybe I'll give it a shot. And I hate to admit this was like last year or something. No, yeah, I think it was last year. I watched one of the episodes and I was blinded by all the glitz and glamour and the hair and the nails. I turned it off after 5 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I'm going into overdrive. I'm being overloaded by too much glitter. There's too much glitter. Well, anyway, I started watching it on YouTube, just the kind of shorts or whatever. And I found myself, I'll admit it, falling in love with some of these drag queens. I mean, just the personality, the clothes, the persona, all of it, the artistry, the imagination, the creativity. One drag queen that I've really grown to love is Alyssa Edwards. I love Alyssa Edwards. I love her, love her, love her. And another one is the author of this book, The Big Reveal, Miss Sasha Velour. Sorry about the glare. This was one hell of a read. This is in my top 10. That seems to be very fluid with the numbers. I loved this book. I loved it, hands down, because it's more than, well, it says The Big Reveal, an illustrated manifesto of drag. But it's more than that. It talks about well, of course, the history, but Sasha's own journey to becoming a drag queen, and a very celebrated one. If I remember correctly, she was crowned season 9 or season 10. I don't remember. Please, I'll look it up later. This book talked about Sasha's path, how Sasha got to becoming Sasha Velour, and about the history of gay rights, starting with Stonewall, and then talking about about drag queens and kings, and how this has been around for a while. This is nothing new. And as I'm reading this book, I was like, my God, Sasha's done research. This is enlightening. It really was an enlightening read. So let me read the dust jacket for you. It's pink, so bear with me. This book is a quilt, a piercing together of memoir, history, and theory into a living portrait of an artist and an art form. Within these pages, illustrated throughout with color photographs and original artwork, Sasha Velour illuminates drag as a unique form of expression with a rich history and a revolutionary spirit. Each chapter strips off a new layer, removing one tantalizing glove and then another, to reveal all the twists and turns in the life of a queen. As Sasha recalls her own journey, from the women who raised her, to learning the craft of an artist, to success, disaster, and more, she also uncovers the history of queer life around the world that made it all possible. From shamans to fairies balls, empresses to RuPaul's Drag Race and beyond, The Big Reveal chronicles and celebrates our shared queer past. If we want to be seen as legendary, writes Sasha, we have to weave ourselves into history. From an iconoclastic drag queen comes an equally singular, thought-provoking manifesto that brings necessary and sparkling substance to our understanding of drag, queerness, beauty, and liberation. And about Sasha Velour is a gender-fluid drag queen, artist, and speaker. She is the creator and editor of the critically acclaimed drag magazine Velour and the host of the influential New York City drag show Nightgowns, which was adapted into a docuseries. Her first one-queen theater show, Smoke and Mirrors, toured to sold-out audiences around the world. In 2017, she was crowned the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 9 on VH1, with an emotional and reveal-filled finale performance that made history. Velour also holds a degree in literature from Vassar College and an MFA in cartooning from the Center for Cartoon Studies, and was a former Fulbright Scholar in Moscow. This is her first book. And what a book. What a book. I learned so much, like I said, not just about her path and how she became Sasha Velour, but also the history of gay rights and about drag queens and drag kings and the fairy balls and all of it. She did her research and it shows. She's highly intelligent, very creative, stands her own ground. I felt so empowered reading this book, and I just thought, my God, I have to talk about this on Viridian Tea House. I have to. It was a damn good book. It really, truly was. And I'm grateful. Thank you so much. Sasha, if you're watching this, I hope you are. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much for this entertaining, intellectual, stimulating, exotic, artsy, innovative book about drag. Thank you so, so much. So for the big reveal by Sasha Velour, it receives 5 pots of glamorous tea from Viridian Tea House. And I'm just, you know what, let me see if I can find, let's see. There was one, I did like the fact that her family, Sasha's family, supported her. Hands down, just supported her in all of her life, her creativity and her ingenuity. They embraced it, they supported it. They may not have understood all of it, but they were there for her. And that speaks volumes, I think. Let's see. Oh, one thing that I really thought was cool was that Sasha is Jewish, and that there was also some research that she did regarding Jewish texts as well, which means a lot to me, considering, as you guys know, I'm converting to Judaism. So that was a nice little, oh, that's really cool. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I mean, I can just use all the adjectives to describe this book. And Pride is more than June. It is. And I'm glad that Denver Public Library had this book. I'm very glad. And I'm glad that I devoured it. I'm glad that I devoured it. And I still have, you know, I would love to just read more books that are out there or articles or whatever, but just about, you know, different drag queens and how they got to become whomever. But yeah, The Big Reveal by Sasha Velour is incredible. It truly is incredible. And I'm going to stop talking about it so we can get to the rest of the video. But Sasha, like I said, if you are watching this, thank you. Thank you so much. So on to the tea portion. And like I said, I did not brew any tea today because we had a lovely cookout today. So I'm going to talk about one of my blends that I brought back in stock. And I think I've sold out of it, but I might have more bags. But this is Harlem Muse. It might be kind of blurry, but this is a white tea with jasmine and lemon balm. A little side note, so for all of my white tea blends in my company, I use By Mudan white tea. I've always loved the taste of it. I've just always loved it, and it tends to blend really well with a myriad of ingredients. So the white tea in Harlem Muse and all my other white tea blends, it's By Mudan. Now, Harlem Muse, the story behind this blend is I love reading and studying about the Harlem Renaissance for a myriad of reasons. But one particular author stood out. Actually, two. One is Langston Hughes because I celebrate a birthday with him. And the other is Nella Larsen. And Nella Larsen, if I remember correctly, she wrote 2 books, Quicksand and Passing. And I think she might have written a couple of short stories, I'm not sure. There was a biography written about her, and there was mention that there was a 3rd book, but it never got published. So I reached out to the biographer and I said, hey, I'm a big fan. Any word about this 3rd book? And he said, if I remember correctly, that it was lost. So we have no record of it. But the 2 books deal with being biracial during the time of the Harlem Renaissance and what it means to be biracial in the 30s and I think 40s, but I think 30s of America, where you don't fit in one camp and you don't fit in another camp, and neither one really kind of accepts you, or maybe one accepts you a little bit more if you wear certain kinds of makeup to hide that light tan you may have. But I always enjoyed reading those two books, and they're gut wrenching, but incredible reads. So for those of you who have purchased Harlem Muse tea blend from me before and you didn't know the story or you've forgotten the story if I met you, that's the story behind it. And I wanted a fitting tribute to not only Nella Larsen, but all of the creatives of the Harlem Renaissance. Many of them, if not all of them, were inspired me to write my own books and poetry and make my tea blends. Inspired me very much. So yes, I think I have sampler bags of the Harlem Muse. I will have regular bags of Harlem Muse available in 2 days. So if you wait until like maybe this weekend, so Saturday, Sunday, I should have them up on Etsy. Or if you happen to see me at Golden Farmers Market or any future events, chances are we'll have bags of Harlem Muse. That's Harlem Muse Tea Blend, created by me, Viridian Tea Company, inspired by the Harlem Renaissance, specifically Nella Larsen. So let's do our tea and our water meditation. For me, I hate to say it's going to be cherry limeade. So, but you know the drill. And but if you are new, welcome. This is just a breathing meditation. It just takes a few minutes. We're just going to focus on our breathing. We're not going to focus on any mantra or any words or music or whatever. We're going to start with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, twice. You can either close your eyes or you can softly focus on an object in front of you. Make sure that you have a cup of your favorite tea or a glass of water nearby. You can either be seated like I am or laying down or standing up, just in a quiet spot where nobody's going to disturb you. Now, once you start breathing in a meditation, you find that your mind's going to start rambling. You're going to start thinking about, groceries and, I forgot to shampoo the dog. It's okay. It's normal. Just pause. Tell yourself thinking quietly, and then allow the thought to kind of move on without you. We're just here to take a little pause, take a little break, and focus on our breath. And then once we're done, I'll announce we're going to take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to allow our eyes to open or softly come into focus again. And then we'll have a sip of tea or water. So if you're ready, let's begin. A little side note, I don't know about you, but I tend to hold a lot of tension in my jaw, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. Let that go. Loosen your jaw, allow your tongue to fall from the roof of your mouth, and just breathe. And now let's end this meditation with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Slowly open your eyes or allow your eyes to come into focus. And now enjoy a sip of water or tea, or in my case, cherry limeade. You know, out of all the citrus fruits, I adore limes. I love putting limes in everything, and many of my tea blends have ground Persian lime peel in them. So if you're not a fan of lime, ooh. That's all I have for today. Many thanks to Sasha Velour and Elizabeth Hand for their incredible works. I cannot thank you two enough. Oh, and speaking of books, I have a new book that's out now that I self-published through Amazon KDP. It's called Black Roses, a collection of poetry, prose, and short stories. Like I said, it is self-published. You can find it on Amazon. In fact, what I can do is I will, once this video has been uploaded, I'll add the ISBN number to the video. So if you're interested in purchasing a copy, just cut and paste and put it in Amazon, and hopefully it'll take you right to the book. This was several years of writing, but it was more of a toxic release. Getting rid of a lot of luggage that I realized I didn't need anymore. So if you purchase a copy of it, thank you very much up front, and please let me know what you think of it. And also to this video with all my other videos, if you like what you're seeing with all my goofy antics and werewolf shirts and me drinking cherry limeade, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any comments, if there's a book that you've written that you're interested in me reviewing, please let me know. I would love to read and give an honest review. I believe in giving honest reviews. Well, that's all I have for today. So as always, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your cherry limeade high, and remember that to drink tea is to enjoy life. I'll see you guys really soon. Bye for now.